Hi everyone, hope you're doing well from wherever you're watching this channel, depending on your time zone. Now, there was a time when the Kenya Kwanza regime deployed the Kenyan police officers from this country to Haiti. We made a lot of noise. But despite that noise, the president proceeded to send our officers to Haiti. They did a great job, and they're still there doing a tremendous job. Some died, they have been brought back, but majority are still there working. There is a progress, there is improvement. A lot of achievement have been able to be realized through the Kenyan police officers who went to Haiti. But now, with all that improvement that the country has realized under the security of our men in uniform, last week the UN Security Council had a meeting, and in that meeting they have approved the creation of a new gang suppression force in Haiti. This is made to replace the Kenya-led mission with a stronger, modest unit. So it's now a replacement of what Kenya had offered with a new move. This force is going to compose of 5,500 troops and police officers to operate for 12 months. That's a year. They are going to draw their support from US. Of course, Kenya will still be there. There is other countries like Salvador. We have Jamaica and all that. But now, in this new move, the first team was being led by Kenyan troops. They are commanders from this country who are commanding the operation in Haiti. Now things are going to change. With a new face drawing participants from those various countries, now the leadership will shift away from Kenya. I look at that and I ask so many questions. When was the right time to have such team to Haiti? Is it now or before? That is what we're looking at. And what does this one mean for Kenya and the world at large, or Africa? I want us to go in that discussion because there is something fishy here. And it is also a lesson to Kenya. But before we go in the discussion, I have a quick and humble request. For those who are watching the channel and you have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing. To our returning subscribers, I must say thank you so much. And again, to all our viewers, please give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much, and back to our discussion. Now, I look at it in this way. Right now, if you go to Haiti, more cities that were under capture of the gang led by Barbecue, they have been now rescued and now in the leadership of the government. These gangs had claimed so many areas, big area, the city, the airport. They were suppressed. The situation became manageable. So Kenyan officers faced serious, dangerous situation, very risky. They were between life and death, but they managed. Why now the UN to send 5,500 troops under different leadership, not even under the leadership and command of Kenya, which has had experience and exposure to this country? Now you're bringing in new troops. It is easy to conclude and say that Kenyans were only needed at the very time when it was dangerous and risky. Now they have done the big job. Wamefyeka msitu, wamefanya kazi kubwa. Sasa kazi imeonekana, then these guys are bringing in their troops. What I can say is that the troops from US and elsewhere, they are simply going to Haiti for vacation because someone has prepared the way for them. They are going for vacation, nothing else. The hard task has been dealt with by Kenyan troops. So are we only needed at the dangerous time when it is risky? But when things are turning good, we are no longer needed. And what is the reward, by the way? What is the reward? Because if it was being done in good spirit, then the leadership that has been there should continue and let them add them more troops. In that way, we will be on the map. Someone want to remove us from the map. This is like showing President Ruto the middle finger. And this might be a decision by US. Donald Trump, though, is voting. About 12 votes, I think, was done there. Where even Kenyans do not vote. But they did a great job. Just a small country. But now, they're being told new leadership is coming. Sasa nyinyi mnasonga kando, mtakuwa tu. Imagine you are commanding the troops at the very dangerous time. Now, the leadership is coming. You will no longer be commanding. Instead, you will be commanded by another person who was not there when you are facing a dangerous time. Hawa wazungu wanapenda tu kuja mahali ambapo pametayarishwa. Vita zimepigwa, ushindi umeonekana, then they come in to take the glory. Take credit from where you have not sought. It is good to increase the troops, but consider the leadership that was there. Now, no any consideration. But yes, the Kenyan troops will continue to be there. And if you go, you might learn that the troops are going to remain there so that they be used in dangerous areas, because then you can't remove those who have experience there. So it means labda hata mahali penye kutakuwa kuna danger, that's where they might be using our officers. But not really the new force that is coming there. So look at that. Look at that. This is humiliating. Eh? You can't do the work. Umeassemble simu. Ukisha almost umaliza kuassemble, then another person comes in, even without a proper reward, or even buying your brand, one now to take over and take credit from the final product. The restore of security in Haiti is as a product of Kenyan-led team. Our officers risked everything to bring order in a disorderly city in the country. But now look at this. So this is what I saw. Even as people are commenting that it is good now they increase the security there and all that. Yes, it's good. But then, where do you put Kenyans under this? So most of the benefit they were getting direct, it will be coming through another person. So that is it. It's a kind of use and dump. That is what has happened. But yes, the move is good to restore total peace in Haiti so that the country can be back to its foundation. it is not good to have a country in a state like what we see in Somalia. It also threatens the security of the neighboring. Like you see Kenya, we are not at peace. US was not at peace, but they used Kenya. If Joe Biden was still there, I think things would be a little bit different. Now this is Donald Trump. He has even talked something about the US Army operating to bring peace in Kenya and Somalia. I wonder, is it really true that this army or officers from the US are really bringing peace here? And if indeed they're the ones bringing the peace in Kenya and restoring peace in Somalia, how comes we can send our troops elsewhere to go and a very dangerous nation in terms of peace? How? That means we are capable of doing it here. But that is international politics. Sasa huenda hawa jamaa wamefika kwa nafasi ya kwenda kutoa mali kule. Walikuwa wanataka mtu wa kuwatayarishia. Mahali pengine ukiona wameweka vita, nia yao kubwa ni kuangalia rasilimali na madini ya nchi. I leave it at there. And thank you so much for listening to me up to there. So please let us continue with the discussion in the comment section.